You are now listening to a proud member of the Disney Podcast family. Go to dispodcastfamily.com to find more on this show and other great Disney podcasts.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Warholy Talks Disneyland podcast. As always, I am your host, Warholy, here to talk about everything Disneyland and Disney-related topics. To all who come to this happy place, you are always, always welcome. Well, today is, I believe, episode 6, and it is the start of a couple new things to my podcast, as I am now a part of a special network called the network of fellow Disney podcasters called the Disney Podcast Family, all thanks to my guest, Cory. Say hi, Cory.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
Awesome. So Cory is best known for hosting and producing the All Aboard podcast as the Jungle Cruiser with his two co-hosts, Hattie and Yo-Ho Joe. It's also a very special time for his podcast for hitting the 100th episode. Congratulations, Cory.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Of course. How long, when did you guys start doing the podcasts? What year?
The original was 2015. We started recording the podcast, and it was the three hosts. It was Space Mountaineer, myself, and Princess Paige. As the show went on, Princess Paige kind of left, and it was Space Mountaineer and I for the next couple of years. But,
okay.
Family grew, and I had to kind of put the hobby aside. I don't like to call it a hobby, but, others will, and it's one of those things where when you have twins, you kind of have to...
Yeah. I totally hear that. I understand that for sure. So if you guys want to check out his and other Disney, awesome Disney podcasters, please be sure to visit the dispodcastfamily.com. Once again, D-I-S, podcastfamily.com. Or be sure to visit the Instagram pages, the All Aboard Podcast and the Disney Podcast Family. Once again, all on Instagram. Is there anything else that you want me to add, Cory, that I may have missed?
No, just real quick. Yeah, we went off the air for 2 years. I had this trip in December with most of the podcast family you mentioned, and it kind of sparked up again. I was like, my twins are 2 now. I want to do this because these guys are recording, and it's so much fun to do. And I got back into it. So we're calling it the Reboot. So it's the All Aboard Podcast Reboot.
Right.
And then, like you mentioned, the family. I thought, why not invite people who have like-minded podcasts, and just we can all kind of promote each other. Just nothing really official. It's just I promote. We promote the family. It's all kind of in one area,
right.
and just kind of build each other up. That's where that started, and that's where it is now, and it's doing okay. But
no, and I love that you did that. I love that you did that, and I am so grateful that you invited me onto this, and it basically motivated me more to just get back onto track with me recording this, because the last episode was recorded sometime in May, and I had to, of course, put that on hold because of Black Lives Matter and the murder of George Floyd and everything. So, but besides that, we're still going through the whole coronavirus. In my last episode, I said this may be the first and last time that I'm recording this while Disneyland is closed, but it's still, what are we, in the middle of September? Yeah, it's still closed. There's talk about it possibly opening, but as of right now, it's just Disney World, and I think Shanghai Disney that's open as well. So anyway, so later in the main part of the of tonight's podcast, we'll be discussing the topic of Disney park rides and attractions being adapted into major films rather than the other way around. From the most popular to the very unheard of. We'll talk about we'll talk about what ideas worked, what hasn't, what hit the nation, and what made the most of us say it was just a bunch of baloney. But first, let's get to know about Cory through the traditional but fun little questionnaire on how much he loves Disneyland. Are you ready, Cory?
Oh yes, I am ready.
Brilliant. So, what is your favorite ride or attraction in any of the Disney parks?
It's the one that's in your background there. It's the Jungle Cruise, and that is my name on my show, Jungle Cruiser. But what I like about that ride, actually, is there's other rides out there that give you a kind of a different experience each time, but it's possible that you can get the same experience. Whereas the Jungle Cruise, to me, is like you're gonna get a different experience no matter what. So you have the other Jungle Cruise skippers. They have their little spiels that they stick to, and there's similar jokes, but you're never ever going to get the same experience twice, whether it's good or bad.
Nope.
And that's what I really love about that attraction.
Of course, it all depends on what skipper you're going to, or what skipper is going to be hosting your experience. Sometimes you get good ones, sometimes you get meh ones, and that's every time I go onto the Jungle Cruise, I'm always afraid. I'm like, okay, is this guy going to be good? Is he going to be boring? And I want to say about 80% of the time they're a lot of fun. The only thing is that I noticed that a majority of the guests don't really listen to the whole, the spiel and all the fun jokes and everything. So that's why I laugh a little louder, just to let the skipper know that, you have somebody here who knows what you're doing and appreciates what you're doing. So
right. Yep. That's us too. Is one of our most recent experiences, to kind of add to that, is the Jungle Cruise skipper said, hey, 6 boats were sunk last week and this week, but out of the 12, only 4 of them were mine, so we should be 5. And it is one of those little subtle things that no one really gets, but it's like those few in the front or whatever, those Disneylanders like us, they really paying attention to those little, because maybe we're critiquing them too much. I don't know what it is, but when I heard that, it was like no one really laughed, but that was a subtle and great joke that I had never heard before.
It's really well done, as long as you're keeping an ear out. I think one of the silliest ones yet, I think it's still funny, is when you're about to pass the waterfall for the first time, it's like, one of the great wonders of the world, the waterfall, and one of the other great wonders of the world, the back of the waterfall. I'm like, that is silly, but I love it. It's like, who writes this stuff? But
yeah.
I think you should know, I think you might know this, is that whenever a skipper has like a new joke, they have to run through it with their supervisors, just to make sure it's an appropriate joke, that everybody else will like it. Nobody will get offended. So if anybody comes up with something new, they have to review it with the other managers. So
I did not know that, but that's an interesting point.
Mm-hmm. I think it's well done. I think that's a good idea, because what if somebody says a joke, like, just improvise at the top of their head, and then one person gets offended? That skipper might get in trouble. So.
Right.
All right. So next question. What do you miss at any of the parks that is not there anymore?
It was a toss-up, but I went with the Skyway buckets.
Okay.
Remember going on that when I was a kid. Plus if you listen to my other podcasts, I love when attractions intertwine. Yes. And that one, and plus that one was unique because it was like in 2 different lands. Like,
yeah.
Everyone says, Matterhorn is and it isn't, but it's in one spot. So it's hard to argue that. Whereas the Skyway buckets was definitely in 2 different lands. It was Tomorrowland and Fantasyland.
Right.
And there's no questioning that, because it's one end is in one land and one, and then plus it goes through, and I think you were able to see Harold or whatever. I don't remember seeing that, but I remember going through Matterhorn though.
I don't think you could have. I mean, I haven't done the Skyway buckets or the buckets or whatever, but I have not. I don't think you would have been able to see Harold, because the spots that I see him at, it's a little hidden from view. Sometimes just in the complete darkness or anything. But it's funny that you mentioned that, because I was out at a flea market today, and I bought myself a bunch of these, like bunch of Disneyland photos from the 50s and 60s. Ooh, that came up random. Give me one second. Anyway, so one of them was, I swear to God, this is about a month after Matterhorn, the monorail, and I believe the submarines open. Anyway, this is a picture of the Matterhorn. Oh, that's not cool. Anyway. And it's like, I think from like this end, it's a little hard to see. I can always scan it and post it, but it's like, there's the zip lines for the Skyway buckets to come out of. And I almost bought a picture from the perspective of someone in the buckets, and I kind of regret not buying it. So, oh well. Okay, let's see. What is your best and or worst experience in the park?
So
or any
I have,
parks?
Yeah. Well, I've only been to Disneyland, so I haven't been to any other Disney. And California Adventure, so the Disneyland Resort, I should say. But I'll go bad first, and it's so rare. But there was one experience. We went to the Blue Bayou, and we get seated. There's 6 of us. And the lady's like, oh, hey, here's the special. It's this and that, and it's like $18. And I was like, that is a special. Cool. So each one of us were like, well, let's get this. It's not bad. There's a lot of good food here.
Yeah.
We get the bill, and it's closer to $30 a person. And we're like, wait a second. Yeah. So we're like, what happened here? This girl said it was $18, but it's $30 a person. That's a big jump,
Right.
Because you're expecting that at the Blue Bayou, but when you get that, person confirming that we have a special today, so that was kind of a bad experience, because they didn't really do much as far as helping us out with that because we were under the assumption we're all paying $18 plus tax or whatever.
Yeah.
So they ended up giving us each like a little bag of like golden chocolates or whatever from like maybe the Pirates of the Caribbean or whatever.
Oh, yeah, sure, that compensates. By the way, good timing because I got Pirates now playing in the background.
That is good timing. Yeah, and the Jungle Cruise was great timing too from before.
No, but Blue Bayou, of course, is an expensive place, and I got to dine there with 2 other friends. It's just that because it was so expensive, I only went for the Louisiana lemonade. I still have the ice cube that it comes with. But my friends noticed that I wasn't eating, and so they shared some of their salmon with me. And, of course, it's like after I bit into that salmon, I'm like, yeah, this is why it's expensive, because the food is so good.
It is.
It's really well done. I can't imagine the food I can't imagine the prices in Club 33, but,
You're right. And I've had so many great experiences at the Blue Bayou that it wasn't like that was a deal breaker, like I'm never going back. And it's one of those things that Disney always will try, but that experience wasn't done, I don't know, Disney right or whatever.
Right.
So,
well.
Oh, yeah, what are you going to do? That was years ago.
So then to your best experience then.
Right. And that was hard to choose too because there's so many, but I boiled it down to one. It was my 30th birthday.
Okay.
And my wife and I were watching the Mad Tea Party up in DCA. So the band, we had a few drinks. And for some reason, like, I love the bands of Disneyland. Like, there's usually they're outsourced. They come into Tomorrowland and they rock it, and they're always amazing. But this one, I mean, and I don't know where else they would have played or where else they do play. It almost seemed like a Disney specific. They put this band together,
right?
And we're in the front or whatever, and I'm a little bit, I've had a couple of the libations that they serve. Speaking of the little ice cubes, we have those that light up, and just for some reason, I was like, we had a fast pass for Soarin', and I don't know if it was about to expire or whatever it was. Like, I wasn't even thinking about going on an attraction right then. I was having fun watching the band, just listening to the music, and then going into the arcade, and just that whole like the Mad Tea Party. And it wasn't there very long, I don't think, but I got to see that a couple of times, and on my 30th birthday was like, I don't know, it just felt really good,
Of course, and I think their last one may have been 2014, as far as I'm guessing. But
I think it was.
But band experiences, seeing different bands here and there, it's a lot of fun. The one that I wish that they would bring back, because they haven't done it in a long time, is I want them to bring back Scott Bruce, who was famous for being an Elvis impersonator at Tomorrowland, and that was always a lot of fun to see because. Of course, you get a lot of people coming, like gathering around in front of the stage, but then sometimes in the back in the open space, you see a lot of middle-aged people just dancing and having a great time and just not caring who thinks what. It's Elvis, and they want to dance to Elvis, and it's like one of the greatest things. It's just fun just seeing them have a good time. So
right, and I haven't ever seen it at Disneyland, but I have seen an Elvis show, and you're right, it is a great time. So
for sure. By the way, I found the ice cube. It's right here.
Nice. Does that one I could change its colors too, or?
Yeah.
Yep. So awesome. Yep.
Oh, well.
So that was like a little addition. Obviously, it's not ice, but it looked like ice in your drink, and you just have this fun drink. It'd be cool if they made that work with the like World of Color or something, and it just,
that would have been great.
Mickey ears.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they do have some of the light up Mickey ears these days.
Right. They do.
Have you seen the Mickey ears with the one that looks like it's the Mickey balloons?
Not off the top of my head, but I know there's like 50 or 60. Maybe there's more than that. There's so many different designs at like was it Mad Hatter and other hat shops, but there's so many to choose from.
Oh, definitely, it's a big variety. Well, I mean, I wouldn't blame you if you didn't know about it because I guess it's somewhat fairly new, and we barely found out about it earlier this year, of course, when the parks were open. So my best friend and I were, walking around, and we see, of course, the ears with the Mickey balloons, and I still have to give it. It's actually over. Give me 1 second. I'm going to try to get it down. But I got it for my best friend because she paid me the money and I had to get it for her while I was at the park by myself. Oh my God. There we go. I still have yet to give it to her. Okay. 1 second. They look like this.
Exactly what I would think.
Yeah.
I think they would look like, yep, that's awesome. The balloon in the balloon.
Does this one light up? Yes, it does. Look at that.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, does that one go with the shows too that you know of?
With the show? Oh, no, I don't think so. I wouldn't.
So I know they have those light up ears that went with, I think it was World of Color, and I don't know if it was Fantasmic, but I definitely know World of Color had some ears out there that were really expensive, and they went with the show. They changed colors as the World of Color was changing colors.
Oh, it would interact in live at real time. Wow. Okay,
Yeah,
I did not know about that. I got to look that up.
Yeah,
But
I've
yeah.
only seen videos of it, but it looks amazing.
No wonder they're a pretty penny. Okay, so last question. So, which character do you feel the most connected with, or which Disney character would you choose to be?
You know what? I would probably I'll go with Roger Rabbit.
Okay.
Like, I think I don't know if he's underrated or what, but I know the movie. I don't even know if it was before its time, but something about Roger Rabbit like really resonates with me, and even more so now. I have the twins, and my son, his name's Benny. You know?
Oh, okay.
So, and I have a few tattoos, mostly for my kids, and the idea that I have, and I need someone to, actually make it come to reality, is my other daughter, my twin daughter, her name is Daisy.
Okay.
So, and they weren't Disney names or anything on purpose, but it just happened to be that way.
Right.
So, I'm thinking the Benny cab, obviously for my son, and then instead of Roger Rabbit driving it, it's going to be Daisy Duck. So for my daughter.
Oh, that's clever. I mean, have you had anybody try to design that for you or something?
I do have a couple of pictures, but it's more of I want it to be kind of like a spin out scene, like on a movie reel. It's gonna be hard, probably expensive and stuff. So it's down the line, but just So I would say Roger Rabbit. Plus, when you watch the movie, Roger Rabbit's like all over the place.
Oh yeah.
Mostly not serious, but he can be serious, and it's like, I don't know, just that character is probably my favorite. I think like Disney.
I think the book itself, because the movie was adapted from the book, I think the book was even more serious. So, which is why, of course, Disney has to tone things down a bit right there. So, goodness. All right, so let's have ourselves a quick little break. When we come back, we'll get into the topic of Disney movies being made solely based off of the rides in the park. From Pirates of the Caribbean all the way to the Tower of Terror. We'll see you guys very soon. Don't go away. Say bye, Cory.
Okay, bye.
Well, not for good, but Yeah,
we'll see you. We'll see you.
Yeah, we'll see you guys in a bit. Bye, guys. See ya. Hey, everyone. Hope you're enjoying the podcast. Just wanted to say thank you so much for tuning into this episode of Warholy Talks Disneyland, and a big welcome to anyone who would like to be on the next episode. I'm always grateful for the people that have joined my podcast to talk everything Disney, but I'm always seeking new and fun Disney-loving folk who'd like to be a guest on the show. So, if you're up for joining, if you have a Disney park topic to discuss, or if you just want to hang out and talk anything Disney, then be sure to hit me up on my email address, which is warholytalksdisneyland@gmail.com. Once again, it's warholytalksdisneyland@gmail.com. I'm really hoping to meet more of you Disney fanatics. Thanks again, and enjoy the rest of the podcast. Oh, there she goes. Moving her hand. You're just being quiet, I understand. Quiet as a golden fortune. Oh, there it is. What is it? A look into the you have to look. A look into the future is in your future day. Visit another galaxy or blast your way to command the stars. Magic up, and we're doing Rise of Resistance in Galaxy's Edge, so hey, I'm digging it. Now your turn.
Okay.
I move my hand for you. Oh, you can barely see it. There we go. Come on, Fortune. What does it say?
You may voyage to the edge of the frontier today. Your passage requires only a willingness to join others in astonishment at the wonders that lay before you.
This is all Galaxy's Edge stuff. Have you noticed that?
Yes.
Edge of Frontierland. This is telling us that our passes are definitely going to work today, and we're going to do Rise of Resistance. So,
Definitely.
Thank you, Esmeralda, even though you say nothing really, but your words are beautiful right there. Thank you, and have a great day. Welcome back to episode 6 of the Warholy Talks Disneyland podcast. Once again, I am Warholy, joined by my fellow Disneyland enthusiast, Cory the Jungle Cruiser from the All Aboard podcast. Say hi once again, Cory.
Hey guys, what's going on?
Awesome. So today's focus is on Disneyland rides and attractions becoming adapted into motion picture entertainment for families worldwide, whether you've seen them in theaters or on the wonderful world of Disney. Now, these days, we're not all surprised or even too unfamiliar with movie plots and themes that are heavily, if not strictly, based on the rides we've known for so many years. And at the same time, a majority of fans have not been all that excited about it. Sure, Pirates of the Caribbean has, and might always will be, the biggest and most beloved adaptation, but even after 2 sequels too many, you start getting bored with the idea. Those last 2 movies there were just like, I could care. Anyway, but we can't help but wonder how many more times the Disney company will greenlight these ideas. Will we have a Big Thunder movie, a Matterhorn thriller, even a Small World? There's only so many original rides we still have today, since most of them are based off the movies themselves, but will there ever be a point in time when the company will end the pattern? Of course, when you ask folks what their favorite ride-based movie is, they're most likely going to say Pirates because it was brand new, groundbreaking concept to us. A lot of us even thought it was the very first movie to be adapted from a Disneyland ride. However, very few of us even remember that the first ride to movie adaptation was the Tower of Terror, which was released in 1997 on the Wonderful World of Disney show, which I myself did not even know until Cory told me about that. So thank you for that info. I really appreciate
no
that
problem
you did that. Gosh, that was crazy. And you know what, to be honest, I tried finding like at least a free version of it, because of course it's not on Disney Plus. It's very hard to find, but the quality itself was just terrible. I think even the audio was a little off, so I was like, I cannot do this, but I'm just going to trust that. Of course, it's established as a ride-to-movie adaptation, whatever. But after Pirates, the executives realized that they can write and produce more films based on the rides themselves. But what they didn't know was that it would never stand up to the same level as the Pirates of the Caribbean did. So why do they keep making more? Let's get into the discussion now. So, Cory, what are your thoughts on this?
Like you said, they made one too many Pirates. I mean, I watched the first 2. I watched actually the first 4, but the first 2 were phenomenal movies to me. And when I came to the third one, obviously I was going to try and wrap up number 2. I was so excited for it. I'm like, this is going to be the best thing that ever happened. Went into it, watched all 8 hours of it, what it felt like. And it did not. I don't know what happened, why it fell off, but it did. And part 4, I think I got halfway through, and I had to turn it off because it was just, to me, was unwatchable. I would just say the first 2, and I think to kind of answer your question, I think is to make money. And in I don't know otherwise, because I guess that's what I would say.
I would agree, especially for Pirates, because of course, Pirates of the Caribbean would be nothing without Jack Sparrow and Captain Barbossa, and of course that's what kept the story going. That's what kept everybody so interested. So of course that's why they would make another one saying it's like, okay, everybody loves Johnny Depp, he's in everything. Let's bring him on another sequel, and let's also bring Jeffrey Rush, right? He plays Captain Barbossa.
Right. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So let's also bring Jeffrey Rush, but he has a new personality or a new character. Let's make it interesting. It was just boring. I got through it, but it's like there was a point where I did stop it around the middle, but I watched it another day thinking I'm not that excited for it. But I thought it was okay. I still haven't watched the last one. I don't plan to. All I know that piques my interest, because I'm a classic rock fan, is that Paul McCartney's in it, because they brought in Keith Richards in the other 2 films.
Right, and you're talking about number 5 is the most recent one that came out?
Yes.
They're working on 6 now, so I've heard.
Are you serious?
Yeah, that's what I've heard, yeah.
Oh my god, they gotta stop! Oh man. Okay, what I will say though, okay, so let's talk about, of course, other movies. What I will say is possibly so far the worst ride to movie adaptation is Haunted Mansion. And I love Haunted Mansion. It's one of my most favorite attractions of the park. And at the time when I was watching the movie as a kid, with Eddie Murphy and everything, I was like, okay, this is funny. This is something adventurous and fun. But the more I watched it and the more I listened to other people talk about it as like a review, I thought, yeah, you know what? Maybe it's not as fun as I saw it as a kid. And I think I could see why, because comparing to all the other adaptations, this one focuses more on just the novelty, or just the whole everything you've seen on the ride. They're just like trying to pop it in here and there throughout the movie, and I think that's what they focus on rather than the adventure or the story itself. You know, with Pirates, think about this. It's like in Pirates of the Caribbean, before the movies came out, it's like you're going through this adventure of different pirates here and there. And then when the movie came out, of course, it's a story that was based off the ride, but it became a completely brand new thing. And they didn't pop in as many references as you would see in the ride. The only one that I could think of is the jail cell scene with the dog, you know, with the prisoners going like, you know, they brought that in the movie for a quick second. But they didn't focus too much. You know, it's like they didn't even have the whole curse with the Pirates of the Black Pearl, you know, being immortal and turning into like these zombie skeleton things in the moon. Like that wasn't in the ride. So they made a really cool, awesome concept, of course. I also say the same thing for the Country Bears. So this was other fun concept. Of course, everybody knows the Country Bears as the whole, you know, the musical attraction. It's all of them playing music, but it's like when you see the movie, this is like supposedly what happens if they broke up and split off in their own ways. And I thought that's kind of unique. The movie wasn't as great, but it's still kind of a unique story itself. So
I remember liking that movie when I first watched it all those years ago, and I honestly I never got to see the Country Bears at Disneyland.
Oh, okay.
It might have been there when I was a kid, but I had no idea about it.
Right.
I had no idea about it until I actually, you know, left the park. But I would compare it to when I first saw it anyway, because I want to say I saw Almost Famous before that. I forget which one I saw first, but
right.
It had an Almost Famous feel to it, where it was like this little adventure they go on, and I actually did enjoy it, you know.
By the way, Almost Famous is now hitting 20 years.
Wow. And then Country Bears has got to be hitting, what, 15-ish? Or
about 15-ish. I found the movie was okay. The only things that I skipped were the musical part. This different songs here and there. I was just like, I can get past it. I want to focus more on the story here and there.
Hammond cheats the detective, the cop.
They were funny. I liked that. That was.
Was it Dietrich Bader? That's it. One of the actors in that.
I believe so. Yeah. The one with the mustache.
I forget which one he is, but I think he does. He's in a lot of movies, and he's kind of an underrated actor, in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah, we're talking about the same guy. He's Rex Kwon Do in Napoleon Dynamite.
Yep.
He was in Office Space. He was also in the Beverly Hillbillies remake or the movie. I thought he was a great actor.
He's like, he goes under the radar, but yeah, he's really good. Yeah.
Definitely. So let's go on to a movie that I just saw. And I really liked it, but before I saw it, I just made this assumption that it was probably going to be stupid or whatever. So I told you a bit about this, but I finally got to see Tomorrowland, and I guess I made assumptions based on the trailer, thinking I'm like, okay, this is just going to be all futuristic stuff. They're going to show us some. That's all it's going to be. But I found out that it was more than that. But what got me hooked into the movie, of course, was like the first 10 minutes of I forgot the character's name, but the boy goes to visit the 1964 World's Fair, and I started freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, they did a cool little like homage or a head nod to the World's Fair, and then of course you hear the Carousel of Progress theme song, and within a split second I was just singing along. I'm like, yes, this is awesome. Yeah. This is great that they're doing that. But the whole it's like Pirates of the Caribbean. It's like they made a completely, you know, brand new story. Like a completely unique thing. It's just, of course, they just take the name Tomorrowland, and they don't really post anything. They didn't really put in anything that would refer to the entire land itself. I guess maybe a possible like rocket to the moon or rocket out space. I don't know, but just overall, the movie was very unique. I really liked it. So,
I don't know if it was just the poster or if it was actually the movie somewhere. Like a space mountain outside of the Space Mountain. It definitely was in the trailer or in the poster, but I don't know if it was actually in the movie when they got to, you know, where they were going.
I mean, if I look at it again, I could definitely point that out.
If you look at the poster, you'll definitely see Space Mountain in there. So that
actually, one thing that they did do a little head nod to, of course, the boy's first invention, or the one that he wanted to get out there, was the jetpack. And early in the early years of Tomorrowland, they would have jetpack demonstrations.
Is that like the kind of like the Rocketeer type stuff, or
somewhat of the Rocketeer? But yeah, but it's like there's early footage out there. I want to say it went on for like 10 years of of guys demonstrating how they could fly with the jetpacks, and there was like a big circle of people all around watching them do this. So I thought that's a cool little nod to Disneyland history.
Right.
So then now there's the movie coming out soon, Jungle Cruise. I don't know how I feel about this one, mainly because Dwayne Johnson's in it. He's in everything. It looks like it's going to be a new adventure, but what are your thoughts on this? Do you have anything?
I think hopefully, like we were talking about, Disney will kind of learn from some of their mistakes, but I'm excited about it because, for one, here's one thing that was kind of weird, and I don't think it's Disney at all, but Jumanji, the new ones, I did not want to see those for the longest time. I'm like, it's not going to be Kevin Hart, The Rock, or Dwayne Johnson's there and everything. And then finally, I wasn't forced to watch it, but I was like, okay, you're going to watch it, I'll watch it with you. And they were fun movies.
Were they?
They really were. Yeah,
okay.
and I was on that fence of like, I don't want to watch them because you can't top Robin Williams.
No, you can't. And
you
we
can't.
grew up watching that one.
Right.
So, and when I first saw those trailers, I was like, a video game thing? What is this? I guess I could see the new, the unique perspective. I don't know, the unique storyline or whatever. But I'm just still too much attached to the whole Robin Williams movie. It's
right.
Like, I'm thinking,
but
like,
yeah,
they can't compare.
I was the same way. I would give it a shot just based on what I said. No, I'm just joking. But when I first, like I said, I didn't want to do it. So I think this is going to be an awesome adventure, and I want to say I heard you say it before. It could go either way. It could be really amazing, or it could just be like, what were they thinking? But yeah. I'm going on it's going to be an amazing experience through and through.
Definitely.
So I mean,
well,
you can mess the Jungle Cruise up, but I hope they do not.
I'm just going to give it a chance, but because it's also your favorite attraction, it's like I'm worried. I'm just wondering what you're going to think about it when it. Did they announce when they pushed the release date to?
I want to say it was a year after the original. This is what I want to say. I think it was supposed to be June of this year that it was supposed to come out.
Okay.
And then I think now it's June, or we'll just say summer of next year that it's supposed to be released.
Okay. All right, I'm just going to give it a shot when it happens. So I'm going to see what it's all about. And you know what? Are they going to do the same thing that they did with Mulan, the pay $30 thing to watch? Do you think that they're going to try that?
I got to think, because I know theaters are starting to open up here. I'm in Arizona, and we do have movie theaters opening up here. And I know you're in Cali, and there's different rules, but I want to say by next summer, theaters will be opened back up, or they will give people that option still to pay the $30 and to rent it for 24, 48 hours, which we've done with other movies as well. And then they drop off once the time expires. But you get to watch it as many times as you want to.
Definitely.
In that time.
What other movie were we leaving? Oh, so have you seen Tower of Terror?
I have seen Tower of Terror, yeah.
All right, so tell me what you think about it, because I have not seen it yet.
It is just kind of like an in-the-middle movie. It wasn't anything too exciting. Like, you look at the attraction, and the attraction is, like, phenomenal, and, it does its thing. This was kind of like cheesy, scary movie type, almost like a TGIF type. I don't know how to explain it, but it wasn't anything too scary. It wasn't,
I mean, it didn't sound... I mean, when you told me that it was based on it was from the Wonderful World of Disney episode, it didn't seem like a big production. It was just one of those TV movies. But is this one where, like Pirates, it was like a completely like different adventure, or was it just them bringing directly things from the ride into the story?
Kinda, yeah. And I think it's based on the one in Disney World, Walt Disney World, which I know is a little bit different than the one at California Adventure.
In what way?
I know the attraction for sure has way more to it. It's more like a I wouldn't say omni mover, but you move through the hotel and you see different things, almost like Haunted Mansion.
Oh, and so instead of going up and down, you're going to see different things.
You still do that at the end. So this is all from videos that I've seen, and you're moving through, you're seeing some scary stuff on the walls or whatever it is, and then eventually you get to the elevator, and then it does, I guess DCA was supposed to do that, but they ran out of space, so they just decided, let's just do the elevator portion of it, and people will love it, and we did love it. So
I used to think that they were about the same size, the Disneyland and Disney World one.
Right. Yeah, I don't know about... No, if you look at videos, you'll see. I think the Walt Disney World one is bigger, just from what I've seen on the video.
Okay.
But obviously never ridden it. Yeah, and I think the movie was just okay. It was kind of cheesy. I think it was Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah, it was Steve Guttenberg.
Yeah, and it's just, I think, a story, they like a little adventure. They got to figure out the ghost, I guess. I saw it like 10 years ago, or maybe even longer ago than that. But I do remember liking it, though, because it was what it was. It wasn't huge production like Pirates. I don't think that Jungle Cruise might match it as far as what it looks like and the production they're going to put into it.
Okay.
I think even Haunted Mansion was supposed to be, but it was a little bit, maybe they tried too hard, or I don't know. Didn't try hard enough, maybe? I don't know.
Sorry, I was just like making
Nice.
sure that it was in the shot. So, okay, going back to Haunted Mansion, so there is also new talk about them planning a completely brand new Haunted Mansion movie, and I guess I'm going to be open to it. I guess I'm going to give it a chance because I want it. From what I'm hearing is that they might make it, of course, a little more serious and a little more intense, which I think would be perfect for Haunted Mansion. Of course, the ride itself, of course, there's scary things, but of course, there's also little silly things here and there. But as long as they can make something brand new out of it, I think I'll be open to it if it's a little more serious. Yeah. Somebody even made a rumor that Guillermo del Toro was going to be part of it, and I thought, oh, that would be awesome to see. But if not, who knows?
Right, he'll be a silent partner or something.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you, do you think that they would continue the same adaptation for other original rides? And if so, which ones do you think would be possible to be put into a movie?
You know what's funny? I was going to say earlier when you were talking about other attractions is, did you ever watch the show Entourage?
No, I did not.
Favorite show of all time, I'll say that. But they do, in that movie, because one of the guys is an actor, they do have a script for Matterhorn. And I think that could be, even if it's not a production movie, even if maybe it's a documentary on the real Matterhorn, which is where the idea originally came from.
Right.
I think that would be kind of cool too. But yeah, that comes to my mind right now is Matterhorn for something that hasn't been made yet.
Right.
That could be an interesting movie. Even if it is a production, maybe it's these guys who are trying to climb the Matterhorn, and then all these other crazy things ensue, and then Harold comes out every once in a while and chases them or whatever, you know.
It's definitely a good adventure type concept. You know, I was also thinking the same thing with I don't know, this just came to mind. It's like, what if they made something off of Big Thunder? Would it be something where these I guess it takes place in the 1800s, and these men get trapped in the mine or something, trying to what is it, dig out gold or whatever, but or finding the natural wonders in there. But you know, it's as long as you can make it like a somewhat unique story that's just at least that can build on top of the baseline of what the ride is, or what the whole like atmosphere or setting of what the ride is, and I think you might have something that can work. But as long as you're not putting in too much of references like Haunted Mansion does. You know, I like Eddie Murphy, but I don't know if the movie worked out too well for anybody that was in it. Right. However, yeah. I will say that I always forget his name, but the guy who plays the butler, I liked his character. I thought he played it off really well.
I don't remember any actor except Eddie Murphy that was in that movie for some reason.
I mean, if you see the guy's face, you might see him on other things. I just don't remember his name.
Right.
Actually, no. There's a couple other. I think the only other one that I can remember is the guy that does the voice of Rex in Toy Story.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He's in it for like half of the movie. What other movies did we leave out? I mean, I don't think I've seen any other.
I think there was a couple more. One of them was like, I think, Mission to Mars.
Haven't seen. Have you seen that one?
Have not seen it. Honestly, didn't know it was a thing. And I want to say I have heard of the movie, but just like in like the back of my head. But that was based on an attraction.
Okay.
And because it was 7 total. I don't know. Do we had to have missed one because
you gave me a list. I'm going to look through that really quick. But while I'm doing that, I know I was telling what I think was the worst adaptation. Do you have an opinion of what you think might have been the worst adaptation?
It's got to be right now. It's got to be Haunted Mansion, and I just think they were riding the coattail of Pirates to do, and they're both in New Orleans Square too. So I don't know if that was what they were going for, but. Real quick on Pirates, when we were talking about little things from the movie, I want to say it kind of reminded me that like when they went to Tortuga, reminded me of the fire type scene in that little city. And the other one that they did, I think it was in part 3. When Jack Sparrow was going into Davy Jones's locker, that whole they hit a black screen for like a minute.
You can hear the ride.
Exactly.
I love that little nod too. That was a great little homage nod, that kind of thing. However, I'm gonna slightly disagree on the whole Tortuga thing with the burning of everything. It's like maybe yes, the Tortuga with the Tortuga references towards the drunk pirates getting all drunk in front of the fires, but I also think that the fires could somewhat be related to the pirates destroying the whole village, because when they come to try to find the I think it was the coin or whatever, they would just destroy the entire village itself. So that's probably what it was referencing, is towards the fires. Do you also think that Pirates was the best adaptation?
I do. Yeah. Pirates 1 and 2, those movies were just phenomenal. And I want to say 2 or 3. Oh, what I will say too, it's kind of weird. We're talking about rides made into movies, but then Pirates of the Caribbean went ride, movie, then they updated the ride to be, what the movie had in it back in 2006. So that was kind of interesting how they did that.
I think, it was probably about maybe 2 or 3 things that they brought into the ride, but of course it's to attract people more into the ride itself. So, of course you would see Jack Sparrow every now and then through the rides. They put in Captain Barbossa, but then also for a period of time, while you're going through the caves and before you're seeing like the first pirate ship or whatever, you see the I guess like some mist or fog falling down, and then you see the projection of Davy Jones itself. Those are the only 3 things that I can think of that they put in from the movie. So. Right,
yeah. I think in the way they spread them out though too, because you get Jack kind of in the middle, and then more in the middle, I guess, and then at the very end you get Jack, and then Davy Jones. Oh, they also had a Davy Jones voice when you're going up the little.
When you're going up, yeah.
When you're going back, he goes, "That's right. Dead men do tell tales," or something like that. He's saying something, but so yeah, it's kind of spread out. But yeah, you're right. They did only add a few things, plus the score. When you're going through the pirate ship scene, they added the Pirates of the Caribbean score that scene.
They did that between Barbossa and the I think the Spanish.
Yeah, I don't know who he's fighting, but yeah, that's that little scene.
The other thing that they did change up was a couple bits of dialogue with the animatronics itself, because back then they would I guess torture the mayor or whatever through the well. I guess the dialogue was a little different, but then now it's like, "Where's Jack Sparrow?" and you could see like Jack, the animatronic of Jack peeking around. And then the other one that they did change up was later, I guess more in the middle of the ride, was the big fat pirate. Who used to hold up a lady's lingerie, saying it's like, "Oh, where's this lass? I had a good time." Like, this is just like a modern day speak. It's like, "Oh, where is she? I had a good time with her," and she would be poking her head out of the barrel. Well, of course now, because of censorship and everything, they changed those things around. Now it's like, "Oh, I have the map to the gold." It's like, "Nobody will take it away from me, not even Jack Sparrow." And of course, Jack Sparrow pokes his head out of the thing. Quick question. I actually want to ask this of you. What is your opinion on them changing up the auction scene with the redhead?
I don't mind it either way. I go through an attraction and I love seeing updates, so I don't have any like weird feeling about how it used to be or how it is now. I almost like it how it is now, because it's more updated and modern, and her voice is even louder than it was before, or not necessarily before, but other animatronics aren't as loud, but she's like really kind of in your face, like don't they boys, they're the way she's talking. Yeah. I like updates like that. And I don't,
that's the one thing that I did have. I'm not on 100% is her dialogue. It just feels too forced, and it feels too wannabe pirate. The whole yo ho kind of. I'm like, what? You don't need to say that. You're a freaking pirate already. But I love the new character. I love the outfit. Of course, there's the whole meet and greet and everything. But also I'm old school, and I'm not. I promise it's not a sexist thing. It's just it's just an old school of how things how you used to see the ride here and there, and the only thing I just don't like is the whole her dialogue. It's too forced. It's too corny or something. Yeah. So
I mean, like I said, I go either way. It is what it is, but I am disappointed. There's nothing to do with the movie. Is they took the Dirty Foot pirate out.
He's
gone.
What?
The Dirty Foot pirate. You know, the guy that sat on like the bridge and
they brought him back. They brought him back. They did.
He was not there in December.
He wasn't there for a while. He wasn't there even in January, and I remember this because I could hear his dialogue, but I could not see him. And I know exactly where he would be, so he wasn't there for a while. So I think when I went back in like late February and March, he was back. They brought him back.
Was there enough complaints? I thought they just removed him completely. Complaints to bring him back.
I think that they may have. I mean, the only thing that I can think of as to why they would take him out is maybe he wasn't moving, he wasn't as swift or whatever, because some rides or some parts of attractions have been doing that lately. Sorry, I'm putting on hand sanitizer. But there are other things that they would have to update with different rides. Like this year when I went on the Indiana Jones ride, the snake wasn't moving, and I thought, oh, that's a little weird. So,
but you could hear it moving though, right?
No, you could hear the sound, of course. But it would just stay still, and I'm like, they need to fix that, and eventually they did. So that's why I'm thinking they must have taken out the drunk pirate for a while.
Okay.
Oh, you know what? Also, this just reminded me another little reference they made from Ride to Movie is Mr. Gibbs, because Mr. Gibbs is based off the pirate that's like off in the corner sleeping with the pigs, just all passed out drunk. That's what I'm thinking, because when they introduced Mr. Gibbs in the movie, of course he's sleeping with the pigs all drunk. I'm like, that's got to be him. That's got to be the reference right there.
Yeah. He said that one was for the smell. He pours the water on him.
Oh, I love that movie too much. So this is going a little off topic here, and it's there's no pressure. There's like you could say whatever you want. It's like I'm not really judging or anything. Do you have any thoughts on, or any opinion on them going to change out Splash Mountain?
I have not like everyone would think. Like I said, I like updated things, but I do love Splash Mountain. There's something about it that when I was a kid, so it's bittersweet. It's not, they're gonna update it, and I do love Princess and the Frog. So yeah, I think that when they update it, they are going to do it right, and that gives them an opportunity, kind of, to expand New Orleans Square. Yes. There's a whole bunch of things that have to surround that can potentially surround that change, and possibly, who knows? They haven't announced anything except that they're changing that attraction. Maybe changing the Hungry Bear restaurant and getting rid of Pooh or moving Pooh or whatever, because now Critter Country is not going to be much of a Critter Country that's obviously the main attraction.
Yeah, but in the movie they do have critters themselves, because I guess it could be a little like soft transition, because from New Orleans, Splash Mountain, and Splash Mountain to critters. Yeah. Oh, here's the thing. So first of all, I agree with them having the opportunity to expand New Orleans. That's perfect. The one thing that I do hope that they keep is the name itself, because the name has nothing to do with Song of the South. So there's no reason for them to change the name. So it could still be Splash Mountain. Maybe they add a little title under it or something. But as long as they keep it as Splash Mountain, the name, and they change everything else, I think I'm totally fine with it.
Yeah, I can see that for sure.
So, the Hungry Bear restaurant, I think that they should keep, because if they change it up, they're going to have to change up the entire architecture of the building itself, because that entire thing is made to look like it's in the wilderness or in the country or whatever, with that beautiful view of the rivers of America. So
right, I think they could even do, how like the New Orleans restaurants have those balconies. They could even make it into a balcony.
They could.
Who knows? Everyone speculates on that, and I don't think Disney's even talked about that at all. So
they could, but at the same time, I still think that they should keep the Hungry Bear restaurant, even for the architecture itself, because, like I said, it's a nice little transition into Rivers of America, but also because they the other thing that just came to mind, they added the new pathway into Galaxy's Edge. So, have you been to Galaxy's Edge yet?
I have. Yeah, we went in December, and first of all, phenomenal. And the way, speaking of transition, they transition at least when you're in Frontierland, they transition from like the Frontierland noises. I think there's like hammering into Star Wars noises in that little tunnel. So it's like half Frontierland, half Galaxy's Edge when you're walking through, and it's a perfect transition.
I didn't catch that. I'd never caught that.
Yeah, and I'm sure that you're going to go back, when it opens. But if in the meantime, I think you probably can find a video on YouTube of that. And it's just definitely the way they did it was like, wow, this is amazing. But I did go through all the entrances and exits.
I'm more than sure that they're on YouTube. There's like a million walkthroughs that people like to do here and there. So
yeah.
goodness. Is there anything that we may have left out, or anything that you want to bring up? We could just almost talk about anything now.
I think there was one of the movies we left out. It might have been left out for a reason. I don't know. I think we named 6, but I know there's 7 different movies that was.
Last one was Dinosaur.
Dinosaur. Yeah. Was that wasn't the Pixar one, right? No, that was Good Dinosaur.
No, it wasn't Pixar, but it was still a 3D animation that came out, I think, 2000.
Yeah.
I will be honest, I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, there's 2 of those that I haven't seen. I think it was the Mission to Mars one and that one that I have not seen. The rest of them I have seen.
However, I did not know that the movie was based on the ride. I thought it was the other way around. So.
And that's at Walt Disney World?
Yeah, it's in Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
I think the ride's just called Dinosaur. I don't know. I'll look it up later.
You're right. I think it is called Dinosaur, because the other one I was thinking it was Good Dinosaur, and I think that was a Pixar movie.
That was the Pixar movie.
Right.
I didn't care too much for that movie. It was okay, but I didn't feel any emotional attachment to it.
Right. I didn't watch it, so I don't know. But you would think there'd be more movies out there like that, that were made from an attraction itself, rather than the other way around.
This just came to mind. Do you think that you could put in a top 5 from ride to movie adaptation, like a top 5 of what do you think from worst to best? Of course.
Top 5?
Yeah.
We'll just go kind of in order. We'll do top would be Pirates. I want to say Country Bears, man. It was kind of a good adventure that I remember.
Okay.
Tower of Terror.
Right. Your door open, by the way.
Yeah, that's my daughter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I thought I had locked it, but on my other show, she's known as Mini JC.
Howdy.
Say hi. Say hi.
Hello.
Silly.
Aw.
Yeah, there's actually a bonus episode out there with just me and her.
Oh, that's adorable.
Yeah. So then that's when she was 2. Now she's almost 6.
Oh. So you said it was Pirates and Country Bears.
Okay, so Pirates, Country Bears. We'll say Tomorrowland. I almost forgot about Tomorrowland.
Okay.
Then we'll say, I don't know, Tower of Terror, then Haunted Mansion, I guess, because the other 2 I haven't seen, but there's probably a reason why I haven't seen them.
Right. I think I can only make a top 3 because I haven't seen any of the other films. But for me, it's Pirates, Tomorrowland, and you know what? I'll watch Haunted Mansion over Country Bears any day. So Pirates, Tomorrowland, Haunted Mansion. So
yeah, and maybe I gotta give Haunted Mansion another shot. I don't know.
I mean, think about when next time you watch it, just think about them focusing more on the whole comedy and references rather than adventure itself.
Yeah.
So I'm just really curious to see what they're going to be doing with this new thing that they're planning out with the new Haunted Mansion movie.
Who's in that one? Is anyone confirmed? Because I hadn't heard of it until I think you mentioned it.
No, I don't think anybody's been confirmed to be in it yet. Like I said, the only rumor was of Guillermo del Toro.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
I'm also wondering how long it's going to take till they open up Haunted Mansion again, because it's been going under construction for a while, even when Disneyland was open. So,
yeah.
Well.
And I feel like that attraction's always under some sort of construction because they have to do the overlays, or one overlay, and then make it back into the other overlay.
If I can make a guess, I think the only thing that they're adding in is just projection effects, because they did the same thing with Alice in Wonderland, and it was a beautiful new idea, concept, and everything. So
when I first got to ride that after the updates, I was like, this is amazing.
A ton better. Yeah, a lot better. Really well done.
And as far as Haunted Mansion, like you said, there's some corny, silly parts in there, but the very beginning of the attraction, to me, is super serious because he's talking, serious. And you're like, okay, this is kind of fun. And then you look up and the lightning strikes, and you're like, what am I looking at? Why am I looking at this? This is Disneyland.
You do know who that is, though, right?
I might have heard it in the past, but no, who is it?
That's the ghost host.
Oh, okay.
Because he said, of course, there's
this
my
is
way.
My way. My way. Yeah.
But
here's
what
that's weird for kids.
It's weird for kids, but at the same time, when you're growing up, you get more used to it. You become more attached to it. And I think Haunted Mansion is more of a demographic for kids, or at least for people from, say, ages 12 to up, I guess. I don't know. A lot of people that I talk to love Haunted Mansion. I myself love it too. Here's what I'm thinking, though. If I can make a theory on what they're going to be writing, if I were to write it, I think that it would be awesome if they made some sort of storyline for the characters in the stretching family portrait room. How interesting would that be? Because it seems like it feels like they're representation of like the four pillars of what created this house and this family or whatever.
Yeah. I'm thinking about it right now because they could be anywhere around the mansion and their stories kind of intertwine with each other. And you're right. Yeah.
Also, like another idea is maybe Madame Leota being the mistress, because in the story she's the mistress of the owner of the Haunted Mansion. Which, do you also know about the theory of how Haunted Mansion and pirates connect?
The only thing I can think of is I know Haunted Mansion. You go under the tracks somehow. Is that what you're talking about? The actual ride themselves or the
story itself?
Oh, then no.
I mean, from what I can remember, I believe it's the like captain of some ship or whatever that retired and wanted to buy his own mansion or whatever. That's from what I can remember. It's just there. I know there's a lot more to it, but I'm thinking like if they make a Haunted Mansion movie, what if there's some sort of reference for pirates or something? That would be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Fun, so.
Yeah, that would be. I mean, and Disney's always doing that. Well, so people say there's theories out there. You know, certain other movies intertwine with each other.
Definitely. I think that about wraps everything up as far as I remember. Like there's nothing you wanted to add or anything.
The only thing as far as Haunted Mansion, just real quick now that we're talking about it, is
go for it.
Put the Hatbox Ghost in there somewhere in a creepy woodsy like scene that he's kind of in the ride.
In the movie itself?
Yeah, just like a little knock. You know, like you said, Pirates of the Caribbean had the dogs whistling. And everybody sees that, you're just like, awesome. And it's like a quick second and they kind of go away from it. Even if you see the Hatbox Ghost for like a second, you know.
I would honestly love it even more if they put him as part of a plot of a storyline or something, because you know, like I said, the last Haunted Mansion put in like too many references here and there, saying it's like, oh, this is here for a few seconds, that was in the ride, you remember that? We're moving on to the next thing. But I think it would be a lot of fun if they add him maybe as a villain, because he looks very devious and everything. So if they add him in as a bad person or just another concept backstory of like, this was his past, this is how he is now, like that would be a lot of fun here and there.
I guess so. Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, trying to think of like other different characters. Of course, there's the whole bride chopping off the head of the husband. It's just a lot of drama that you could put in for a story. So, I think now that about wraps it up. I don't remember. Anyway. So, Cory, thank you so much for being a part of this podcast. I really, truly appreciate you doing this. This is amazing. So, everybody, just remember to follow his podcast at the All Aboard what was it? Yeah, the All Aboard Podcast on Instagram, or you can find him as well as a bunch of different other podcasts, including myself, on dispodcastfamily.com or simply on Instagram, Disney Podcast Family. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you so much, Cory, for doing this.
Yes, thanks for having me, man.
All right. Till next time, everybody. Till episode 7, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, episode 7 is going to be focusing on old home photo or family photos of people in Disneyland, whether they be black and white in color. And I already have a special guest for that lined up. Just got to get that recorded sometime soon. So in the meantime, thank you so much, everybody. Have a great night. And whenever Disneyland opens, be safe and always have fun. Thank you so much, everybody. Goodbye.